All right, everybody, welcome back to another week of Dids in the Dugout. This is our Week 9 gambling edition. I'm my two co-hosts here, Chad and Hitch, being in a lot better moods than I am, I'm sure,
Yeah.
especially the one in the middle. Been hearing from him all week now. So another good week for Chad, obviously, as you can tell by his shitty dance moves. And Hitch ended up the positive again. You're not going to
That's a
believe
fun
this.
word. That's a fun word. Again.
Positive?
Again.
No.
Yeah. I did not end up as positive again. So, yeah, you're going in one direction, me in the other. But anyway, how's everybody doing today before we dive into this?
Perfect.
Doing great, man. You know, another winning week, which has been a trend for damn near a month now. It feels like.
Yeah.
It's hard to remember September at this point, considering all the good luck I've been having. So we're gonna keep it rolling this week, I feel like.
Yeah, what you need to do if your September is the same as your October, then it's easy to remember it.
That's true.
Kind of what I'm dealing with over here.
You are the model of consistency, so
I am the most consistent gambler on this show. Now, what you do with it is up to you. So
that's true.
I'm pretty sure at this point I'm the number one cause of foreclosures, just ahead of our economy so far this year. So we're going to try to keep that rolling.
All right.
Update the standings real quick. Chad went 4-2. Was that right?
That's right.
Yep. Yeah, so it brings you up to 23-21 plus 2.82 units.
Yeah, Pitt really screwed me last week.
Yeah, I was on them personally. I didn't have them on the show. That kind of seems to be the theme. Whatever I don't put on the show usually hits outside of Pitt, and whatever I put on here is just more shit. So, and just ahead of Chad, still the leader is Hitch, 3-3 last week.
That's another fun word, steal.
Huh. Steal, yeah. And really, depending on which one that you want to use, like you're still in the lead, but Chad could steal it from you here in another week or two. So
yeah, like you're stealing my time by bringing up all these words that are funny.
Yeah. So, but Hitch 3-3 brings him to 25-22 on the year, plus 4.8 units. So you're up by just under 2 units. Hitch 1.98 if my quick math is correct in my head. So
let's change that this week.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Going to be a big week here. So, you know, we're not going to go over mine. I only wrote down 2 of them. It's a 2-man race here. There's no sense in talking about the guy running dead last by 150 miles. So we'll just go ahead and dive in and start with you, Chad.
All right. I'm going to start off with the game I hate the most. That way we can get that one out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina, 14.5 minus 110 in College Station. I don't have a lot of good stats to justify South Carolina keeping it close. I just think that it's too many points for an early morning home game. I like
that half point's big.
Yeah, that's what I did this week. I looked for the best numbers I could get. And look, Texas A&M's not playing for a whole lot anymore, right? They're 4-3. We don't know if Jimbo's going to make it through the year. It's the early morning. It's a 11 a.m. start at home. I just think it's too many points for a team whose back's against the wall in South Carolina. Offensive linemen should be back. Like I said, the numbers don't look good. The offense is it's not like I said, it's the one I'm the least excited about.
Spencer Rattler is elite.
Point is why I'm on them.
Spencer Rattler's been really, really good. Now that's been about it for South Carolina.
Yeah,
but at least it is at the most important position, though, right?
That's a good point.
Yeah,
I was kidding when I said he's elite. By the way,
no, he has been really good.
Yeah, he has.
Super good. Yeah, that's one that I just had no interest in even looking into to gamble because I didn't trust A&M to cover a number that big, and as bad as South Carolina's been, didn't want to get on it either. So kudos for you for jumping out there, man.
You know, risk taker, money maker.
And did you say minus 110?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What you got, Hitch?
I'm going to start with the game that I looked at last here, right before we hopped on. Tulane Rice. Give me Rice plus 10.5.
Ooh.
A really good offense catching 10 points at home.
Yeah,
I'm in on that. You know, Rice's defense is not great. It's not awful. but it's kind of in the middle, except when you get into the red zone. When you get into the red zone, they rank 17th in the country. They're only allowing 72% of scores in the red zone, and less than 50% of those are touchdowns. Other than that, and I don't know if Tulane's defense can get enough stops to cover double digits, and so I just kind of the same thing Chad was saying is I don't have a lot of numbers to back it up. I just, Rice coming off a big win a couple of weeks ago. They're good now. Their offense is great. Going to score a bunch of points. I would look at the over on this one too, because it's probably going to turn into a shootout. But I like Rice plus 10.5 at home.
Yeah, and that's JT Daniels quarterback now, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah, so 6th time a charm for him. He's been bouncing around all over the place. And I actually watched him last week before, something like that. He looked pretty good. So I could definitely see a home game, 10.5 double digits, going ahead and rolling with underdog.
The other thing I wrote down is on the flip side of them keeping people out of the end zone when the opponents get in the red zone. When they get in the red zone, they are 89% of the time scoring, which is good for 3rd in the country. And of those 89%, whatever math this is, 82% of those are touchdowns, right? So I mean, they're scoring touchdowns when they get in the red zone.
Yeah, that's obviously a big thing. So, all right, so you'll go Rice 10.5. Hitch, I've gone ahead and told Chad about this. This is gonna be the first year hearing about it. This is the my show, my rules kind of thing that we're pulling out. Desperate times, desperate measures. And one thing I've been really good at is weekday games. So I am going ahead and starting on Thursday night. And for the people that are listening to this, you won't hear this until Friday, but I'm going to tweet out these picks for the show. That way you can have them. But I've got to have some kind of momentum going. So Thursday and Friday nights.
You've got some going.
Yeah, you have momentum.
I need some positive momentum.
Okay.
How about that?
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, so we are going to start out with the battle for Georgia Southern, Georgia State on a Thursday night. Georgia Southern at home -1 is what I got, -110 here. Georgia Southern throws the ball all over the place. They're a really high-powered offense. Georgia State's been really good too. I know me and Hitch in particular have talked about them on this show and just personally hanging out from time to time. Going to be a really fun game, one I'm really excited to watch. But on a Thursday night, give me a good Georgia Southern team that can raise a good bit of hell defensively, getting after the quarterback. It's basically a pick 'em, so I'll take them -1 at home here, and that's how I'm going to start my week with a win on Thursday night, just like I did last week. We saw how good that went.
There you go.
Yeah, Georgia State's fun. Clay Helton's done a good job since he's been down in Statesboro.
He has.
Yeah, I'll be on that one tonight too.
I am as well. I'm on the other side, but yeah. Not one of my 5, but yeah, I'm on Georgia State money line.
I'm also on the under too, just not for the show, but personally, I got the under as well.
Okay. All right, my next one. I've been on this team a few times. Back to the Sun Belt I go. Now this is a road favorite, so I'm a little nervous, but Troy 6.5 -113. Troy defense hasn't allowed over 300 yards of total offense since September 9th. That defense is pretty good still.
It's really good.
Texas State's defense struggles to get off the field on 3rd down. They allow opponents to convert nearly half the time. That's second and 8 or more, or 3rd and 4th down and 5. So that's what we consider that conversion there. I like Troy. I think their defense is good. I've been against Texas State a few times. I've won a few. I've lost a few. I don't think Texas State's defense is very good. Troy's defense, they're going to be able to run the ball enough to keep the ball out of Texas State's hands. Give me Troy under a touchdown, -113 on the road.
Yeah. One thing about this game for the Texas State side of it, they're playing at home, obviously, against a Troy team that is really good, one of the better teams in the Conference USA. Is that right? CUSA?
Sunbelt,
that's right.
Sunbelt.
Yeah. Texas State is playing this game for their first ever bowl trip. They can get bowl eligible this week.
Yeah.
So they're playing at home, big team. Maybe, they get a little bit momentum.
Sure. That's definitely possible.
Yeah, but for the record, I like Troy in it as well. That's just one thing to throw in there for the Texas State side of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Hitch.
Did Sam Houston State win last night?
Nope.
No, they didn't.
Oh, did you hit that money line? Man,
Yeah.
that sucks for them. I didn't realize that they had never won a
FBS game.
FBS game. And 2
And
weeks
they
in
haven't
a
won
row
a game
now.
yet this year.
Yeah, right. Well, it was 2 weeks in a row, right? They've had a lead on an FBS school and kind of blown it. That's tough.
Yeah. I was on the other money line the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. You were. I knew that you were on UTEP money line
UTEP.
last night.
Yeah. And then whoever they played last week, I was on their money line as well because they were underdogs.
All right. So I don't love this game, but I did find a little nugget about like the situation here. So the week after winning outright as a dog, teams that are on a 3-game win streak, straight up and against the spread, are 6-22-2 as a home favorite. That's Oklahoma State. All right, they're on a 3-game win streak. They won last week as an outright dog. They've got Cincinnati coming to town, and they are a home favorite of 7 or more. In those situations, teams are 6-22-2. Give me Cincinnati. Their defense is pretty good. It's a letdown spot for Oklahoma State, I think. They've got to go to what could be the last bedlam against Oklahoma next week. I think Cincinnati's going to have to win the game on the defensive side of the ball. They rank in the top 30 of a lot of defensive categories, but their offense is weak, and, man, they can struggle in the red zone. Good news is Oklahoma State isn't that great defensively in the red zone, so I'm hoping, my thought of what happens here is that young running back who Oklahoma State is putting all of their marbles in right now has had 3 great games. I think the game plan will be to stop him, make somebody else beat you at Cincinnati. Maybe he tries to do too much, puts it on the ground, Cincinnati picks it up, and we get a field goal at the end of the game for the win or something. I think it's going to be within 7 points. Give me Cincinnati.
Did you get it at 7 or 7.5? I got it at 7. Okay.
I haven't placed the bet yet, but when I looked earlier today, it was 7.
Okay.
Wish it was 7.5.
All right, yeah. So going ahead and talking about this game, I'll go ahead and jump to one of my 2 Saturday games here. This
Oklahoma
State game. I am going to take the over 53 on this one. Oklahoma State seems to have kind of figured things out here lately. They kind of struggled offensively a little bit to start the year, quite frankly, but they've put up 29, 39, and 48 in their last 3 games against Kansas State, and West Virginia. We all know that Mike Gundy has basically made a career of scoring basically 1,000 points a game at Oklahoma State so far in his tenure. Seems like they figured some things out, and Cincinnati, while not great offensively, they're not that bad. Scored 29 against Baylor last week. Went to BYU and put up 27. Their defense is what kind of gives me a little bit of pause here. They're giving up 26 points a game. Haven't really played the hardest schedule. Now, one counterpoint to that is they played Oklahoma and held that high-powered offense to 20, right? So that's one thing that kind of goes against it a little bit, but giving up 35 to BYU, 32 to Baylor. I just think this over 53 is way too low. I think they'll end up running past it. So just give me the total in this one. I don't really have a good feel for the side one way or other, but I do like the total over 53.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati has been victim of some bad luck. While Oklahoma State's been some victim of, or been fortuitous to have some good luck. I was reading earlier, Cincinnati outgained BYU by like 200 yards in an 8-point loss. They outgained Miami of Ohio by 200 yards in an overtime loss. Oklahoma only had 50 more yards than they did in a 14-point loss, and they outgained Baylor by 150 yards in a 3-point loss. Right, so their problem is getting it in the end zone or getting points on the board. It's not moving it up and down. Hopefully this week for both of us that turns around and they stick some touchdowns in.
Yeah. Just give me all the points and
what was it? What'd you say? 50 what?
53.
53. Yeah. And I'll even root for Cincinnati to win outright for you, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Chad won't, but you will.
I will.
Right.
You're right. I will not. Go Pokes. I am back in the Big 12. I'll go to the Big 12 as well, but I'm going to Waco, Iowa State, -2.5, -114. So, I was on Iowa State a little earlier this year. Me and Hitch were the Ohio game where Ohio beat Iowa State straight up in Ohio. Since then, they're putting together a pretty solid season. Won 3 of their last 4.
That quarterback is going to be pretty good. Rocco, what's his name?
I'd have to look it up, but
yeah,
they've won 3 of their last 4. Last week, they had a 20-point win against Cincinnati. Okay. One of the better defenses in the Big 12, ranked 14th in the country in PPA. Now, if you look at their season-long offensive numbers, they're a little ugly, but in their last 3 wins, they've got 30, 27, 34. So they shouldn't have any problems putting up points against a Baylor defense that's 114th in predicted points added. I like Dave Aranda. He's a good coach, but he's playing a lot of young kids with Baylor, and it's not going to be their year. It's a rebuilding year. I like Matt Campbell as a coach. Give me it under a field goal. Cyclones 2.5.
Yeah, I looked at this one too. I almost pulled the trigger on Iowa State myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, Hitch, you're up, bud.
All right, I'm going back to the well. Oregon State -3 at Arizona. Both of these offenses are very good. Arizona is 6th in the country, and Oregon State is 11th when it comes to offensive rush success. And then 3rd and 4th, in overall success and stuff like that. Oregon State has had trouble stopping the run this year. But when you look at who they've played, only one team outside of the top 45 when it comes to rushing offensive success, and that was Utah. They're 45th. So that rush defense might not be that 108 rank that we see. When opponents get inside the 40, they buckle down. They're only allowing like 3 points in those opportunities. And I think the key in this game is going to be turnovers. Listen to this. Oregon State is top 25 in both havoc and not allowing havoc. And Arizona State has a -1 turnover margin at home and a -2 overall. Oregon State's +3 on the road and +6 overall. So I think we're going to get a turnover in this game, from Arizona. Both teams are coming off a bye week, but I Bleav Oregon State's played the tougher schedule. And something I found really cool, Oregon State is one of 2 teams that have scored on every single possession in the red zone. They are 25 for 25. 84% of those have been touchdowns. So, Arizona gets there too quite often. The difference is that only about 50% of the time they get in the end zone, and the other is field goal. So, hoping that Oregon State comes through for me again. I'm going to ride that train. Give me Oregon State -3.
That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be your Pac-12 after dark. That'll be a fun one for sure.
No doubt. All right. I'll keep the Thursday night train rolling a little bit here. Give me the Syracuse Orange getting 2.5 points on the road at Virginia Tech. I don't know why Syracuse is underdogs in this spot. I think they're clearly the better team. Virginia Tech's been a little bit of a mess. It's probably because of Syracuse's last 3 games. Maybe they're getting a little bit undervalued here. But their last 3 they've lost, and it was to Clemson, at North Carolina, and at Florida State. Okay, so it's 3 pretty good ACC teams right there. Yeah. And they're coming off of a bye week coming into this Virginia Tech game. They were off last week, so they were able to, take a week, rest their bodies, put a plan together in what's turned out to be a pretty big game for Dino Babers and the Syracuse Orange team. So, and Virginia Tech's just abysmal. They're converting 31% of their third down so far on the year, and they've given up points on 100% of possessions inside the red zone so far.
Tough.
I mean, that defense is really struggling. Their offense can't stay on the field, and kind of counter Virginia Tech only converting 31% of their third down. Syracuse is they're only allowing 46% of third down conversions on defense there. So That's a little high, but with such a bad offensive team, Virginia Tech, I think you probably steer a little closer to the number that Virginia Tech's been doing here. So give me Syracuse coming off the bye week, 3 tough losses against 3 really good ACC teams against, quite frankly, just not a real good team. I think they win outright, but I'll go ahead and take the 2.5 points.
Yeah, I'm on the money line for Syracuse as well for tonight.
Yeah.
So, I like
What time is that game? 6?
6 or 6:30.
I'm so bad at putting bets. Like I'll wait
Yeah.
until
still got
game time. I'll wait until game time, and then I'll get busy doing something, and it'll be 5 minutes after. Forgot. Okay.
Yep, that's it. So, all right, Chad.
All right. This is my total for the week. Tennessee, Kentucky, under 51.5, minus 115. In 4 SEC games, Kentucky's thrown for more than 200 yards one time. That was against Vanderbilt. Tennessee should be able to load up the box. Vols defense 21st in stuff rate, 27th in creating havoc with their front 7. So we know Kentucky's going to try to run the ball. Tennessee should be able to slow it down. I've said a few times, back-to-back weeks, how this Vols offense is not the way it was in 2022, right? I don't see that continuing against a Wildcat defense, 30th in PPA against the run, which has been their preferred method of trying to get some offense. So I think Tennessee's probably going to win because I still don't think Kentucky's too one-dimensional, but I don't think there's going to be enough points to go over the total. And like I said, I got it at 51.5 at 115.
Yeah, I totally agree with everything you just said. I think it's going to be absolute mauling up front on both sides, quite frankly, because that's what Kentucky's going to try to do. You saw Tennessee do it for an entire half last week at Alabama, right? I mean, they can do it. That's the one thing that's kind of been there for Tennessee so far this year.
And that game should go by fast because both teams are going to try to run the ball. So that's my hope.
That's right. So, all right, Hitch, you're up. Is that right?
Yep.
I think, yeah.
Yep.
I like West Virginia +7 versus UCF. The UCF offensive rush success, they rank 24th in the country, but they've only played 2 teams that rank in the top 20 for the defensive side of that, K-State and Oklahoma. Against Kansas State, UCF had 143 yards on the ground. Against Oklahoma, they had 147. They lost both of those games. And if UCF struggles to run the ball, I think they might against the defense, against this defense, because even though they're 62nd in the nation when it comes to defensive rush success rate, they've played Penn State, who's 20th, TCU, who's 23rd, Texas Tech, who's 33rd, and West Virginia went 2-1 straight up and against the spread in those 3 games. Didn't allow more than 180 yards rushing for either of those teams. So I think they're better against the run than what we think. They're going to try to make this game one-dimensional, which, I mean, UCF is a little bit anyway. John Rice doesn't throw the ball great. He turns the ball over some, and, man, Virginia Tech is going to take that ball from him at a couple of times, I think.
West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm sorry, West Virginia. Just to add some narrative to this, all the numbers, UCF's coming off a trip to Oklahoma. They could have won that game. That's a crushing defeat there to fight back and not get the 2-point conversion. They've lost 4 games in a row, and they've only covered 1 game during that stretch.
It was awful. Terrible.
I mean, what is that, man? You do the wide receiver pass or whatever that is, and you have one guy going out into the flats to receive the pass, and that's all you've got on that play. That's it.
And
that guy's
and
not
John
open.
Ross
No other option.
and JRP, the play before, threw the best ball he's thrown in his whole career for that touchdown.
That was the entire drive, man. He was on point.
Man, he was great. But I looked at the over on this one too because I think there's probably going to be a lot of points.
Over too.
My only hesitation with that was I think West Virginia's defense is better than what people think, and they may not, UCF may not score enough to get there. We'll see. But I'm on West Virginia +7.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I totally get it. All right. So to go to my next one, we're going to stay in the midweek. Obviously, I've gone through all of the Thursday games here, so I can't pick another one.
You can't go back to last night.
Well, no, I could if I
Are these
wanted.
mid? Are these
My show, my rules.
are these midweek plays from Rhythm?
Yes, that's actually strictly what this next one coming up is from. Charlotte
killed your
plus
midweek
3.5 against FAU. These are two bad college football teams. There's no way around it. But my model for Rhythm that's been absolutely on fire, particularly in weekday games. That's why I've gone this particular route this week to try to get back in it, run the weekday Rhythm games.
I've got a model that likes Charlotte a lot.
Yeah, that's how mine is. And they're at home. They're coming off of a win last week. Like I said, two bad teams, but my model like Charlotte plus 3.5. It actually recommends a money line here, but Rhythm has absolutely changed the game for me this year as far as betting, especially in the last like 3 weeks. I'm on God right now. I've lost count. Somewhere around like a 39-8-1 run during weekday games, something like that. Obviously, super profitable.
Crazy.
So I'm kind of running with that on the Charlotte pick here. It really likes them. There wasn't a whole lot that when I dug into the numbers, it told me anything, but Rhythm's been good to me. I'm going to lean into it. That's why I've got 2 Thursday night games on the show. That's why I've got this Friday night game on the show. So I'm going to take Charlotte plus 3.5. And when that hits, it has nothing to do with me and everything to do with Rhythm.
And, if you wait a little bit, it looks like the line's dropped to 4 and it's still juiced to Florida Atlantic. So it may go up to 4.5 before long. So if you like the money line, you may get some better odds here in just a little while.
Oh, no, that's absolutely what I'm going to do. I'll wait for that thing to go up, and then tomorrow I'll end up jumping on the money line. Guaranteed.
Cool. There you go. Okay. I think we're on pick 5. This is my favorite play of the week. Oregon minus 6.5 at Utah minus 110.
Okay.
Oregon is physical enough to play with Utah. Okay.
I think so.
They do not. Utah does not have the same defense we've seen in previous seasons. They're 96th in PPA, 117th in points per opportunity. So why on paper does their defense look good? Time of possession. They're number 1 in the country in time of possession. Okay. They average 34 minutes a game. That's tied with Air Force. Last week, we saw they can keep up with the high-powered offense. But the Oregon defense is not the USC defense by any stretch of the imagination.
That's the difference in this one.
Utah's also benefited from fumble luck. If you've heard about that, they fumbled the ball 10 times. They've only lost it 1 time. Oregon has 1 turnover all season. Okay. I think that Oregon's going to be able to stop the Utah offense, which is not strong. They're not a strong offense. The Oregon offense should be able to put up points. I got it at less than a touchdown, which is why I like this game so much. It is in Salt Lake City, which is never, but it's not a night game, so I'm happy about that. And who knows? If you go the narrative route, Utah's coming off a big win. USC, maybe let down City. Give me the Ducks minus 6.5, minus 110. That's 2.5 units, by the way.
Okay. Yeah. Kind of like you mentioned, Utah is one of those really, really tough places to play. Like when you see somebody going into Utah, it's almost an automatic bet on them. But the letdown coming off USC, Oregon knowing that they have no more room for error this year. They're not going to overlook a single opponent on the remainder of their schedule because they need to run the table, get to the Pac-12 championship game, and redeem their loss over Washington, who I imagine is going to be there waiting on them when that time comes because they're still in the playoff hunt. If Washington's their only loss and they go beat Washington in the Pac-12 championship game, they're going to be one of the 4 teams. So they've still got everything to play for. Again, tough place to play, but I do like Oregon in this spot, just like you.
I think the Utes are fraudulent.
Man, I cannot.
The offense is just so bad.
I can't figure out why I took this one off of my thing. Like I when you said that, I was like, oh, me and Chad are on this. I get, but I don't know why. Good pick. I love it too. Yeah.
All right, Hitch, what's next?
Let's go to my favorite game of the week. Wyoming versus Boise State. Over 49. Neither defense is particularly good. Wyoming's 106th. Boise's 103rd in defensive success rate. They both give up over 40% on third downs. Both offenses score 90% of their red zone trips with a touchdown 70% of the time. And then both defenses give up a touchdown about 72% of the time when people get in the red zone. I think they both have mobile quarterbacks, break off big runs. Wyoming's pretty good at limiting big plays. Boise State is not. They're 111th nationally when it comes to explosive plays. And another thing is Boise's banged up on the defensive side of the ball and be missing a couple of guys. And at the same time, they're getting George Halani back on offense, who hasn't played since maybe week 1 or 2. And so with that two-headed monster back there of Halani and Genty, I think Boise State wins the game and probably covers. But it's going to be a shootout, I think. And 49 seems entirely too low. I was telling y'all earlier in the week when we were texting or whatever, is like, I'm going to have a 5-unit play. I'm going to have 5-unit play. And then Chad got me all scared coming up behind me. And so I figured that I would, I just figured that I would protect my lead here and just drag it, go with it on 1 unit. But the best defense is a good offense, right? So give me 5 units on the over 49.
Okay, there it is.
Right.
I've never been scared. Not even once. 5 units.
Especially of a UTEP Sam Houston State second half over 20, right?
Don't
Nailed
do it.
that one on Wednesday.
Don't do it.
Yep. All right. So my fifth and
Favorite
final
play,
pick
dudes. What you
here.
got?
All right. Finally, a Saturday play here.
All right.
I've got one with Cincinnati and Oklahoma State. Here's my second one. Auburn and Mississippi State.
Gonna be a fun one.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole lot of fun. Give me the under 42.5. I don't know how anybody scores in this game. 2 defenses that have, quite frankly, played pretty well. Auburn's defense played pretty well against Ole Miss last weekend, and then Mississippi State against a very poor Arkansas offense obviously showed out as well. But I just don't think there's any quarterbacks in this game. These offenses can't move the ball. They can't score. I just think defenses are going to show out, and we're might be looking at another 3-2 game, something like that here.
It's gonna be terrible.
Yeah,
I was just fixing to say, I remember living in Starkville and that being at Cowbells and watching that 3-2 football game and being miserable.
It was an awful game.
Yeah. So, but I got this under 42.5 at minus 115. So I'll ride these 2 terrible offenses in this game.
My plus money play is it's a 5-game teaser. I'll end up sending it to you, but it's Penn State over, Clemson over, Duke, Oregon, and Mississippi State at 12.5. So it's a teaser, half unit. I'll send you all the information. I didn't like a lot from a plus money perspective this week. So
What kind of odds did you get on it?
400 plus 400.
Oh yeah, okay, very good. What about you, Hitch?
You do yours.
Okay, I have a lot of catching up to do here. It seems as if every time I do a plus money play, it kind of seems to come out with odds that would bring me somewhere around about even. So y'all can do the math since I didn't give my record and where I stand on this one. But we will have 1 unit on a 4-team money line parlay, and give me Purdue, Tennessee, Syracuse, and Arizona. And I got that at plus 1656. Put a unit on that, and that should bring me right about even. As a matter of fact, that would put me just a little bit in the green zone, so I don't screw up these other 5 above it. So, 4-team money line parlay, and let's hit it. Get back in it.
Well, we'll know tonight if you're at least moving in the right direction.
Yeah, that's right. That's one thing. Before y'all hear this, I'll know if it's still alive or not.
Yeah. Sorry, I had mine. I always forget to tell you what the odds are. I'm doing the same thing, money line parlay, following up from last week. Give me West Virginia and Wyoming. And I got that at plus 760.
Okay.
1 unit, 8 units, 10 units.
1.
Okay, just checking.
Uno.
Well, there you have it.
Point
Take
now,
that
by the
lead.
time Saturday comes around, it's probably going to be up to 10.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Got to get that PS5 itch.
Hey, I'm working on it. Your brother won't leave me alone about it, man.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, y'all. Well, that's going to do it this week. Obviously, we'll check back again next week. We'll see how much closer Chad is to Hitch, if he's taking the lead over yet or not. How much further back? Well, actually, we won't check on how much further behind I am because I'm not giving that out anymore. So, but again, thanks to Rhythm. Y'all are the ones keeping me in the green. Everything I pick for this show is dog shit. Everything I do through them personally has been incredibly profitable. Y'all go check them out. You can get a 14-day free trial if you sign up with them. And the premium package is absolutely worth it because you build your own factors instead of the standard ones that are provided for you to go into all your different models. And it's not just college football. You can do NBA with it starting up now. You can build your NBA models, NFL going on right now.
I
College
saw they just did a
basketball
release.
Yeah, and college basketball coming up. You can do college basketball models on it too. So, new sports season's coming up. Rhythm's something that you can use year round, no matter what season it is. You can do it for any sports. Make money with them, and that's what I'm doing right now. And we'll probably dabble in, NBA since it started. I'll probably, once I get some time, sit down, see if I can figure out a couple models for it, see if it performs, and if so, I might start betting on the NBA for the first time this year. So, but again, thanks to them for helping us out so far this year, sponsoring this show for us. They've been great and a lot of fun to interact with, and it's a lot of fun using their product too. So y'all go check them out. And Chad, Hitch, appreciate y'all doing this every week with me. Y'all have had a lot of fun. I absolutely hate it, but I'm gonna keep showing up anyway. So I'll be back for week 10 and probably a pretty shitty mood again.
Enjoyed it,
I
guys,
can't wait.
as always.
All right. Yeah,
All
I
right,
love
see
you in
you
a bad
guys.
mood.
All
Bye.
right, thanks.
Right.